Career Source Northeast Florida. I work with Apprenticeships. I also work with Apprenticeship Florida because it is a state initiative as well. And we have three wonderful guests here today. I'm just going to move forward with this. Let's see. Who all have wonderful programs, and I've worked with all of them trying to promote this idea here in Northeast Florida. So we just want to go down the line quickly and just introduce yourselves.
I'm Orville Dothage from Northrop Grumman, and we have started an intern apprenticeship program there with high school students.
I'm Donna Wagner. I'm the Chief Nursing Officer for Flagler Health Plus, and we currently have a surgical technician apprenticeship, and we're actually hoping to start perhaps a pharmacy technician apprenticeship soon.
Hi, I'm Tim Henson. I'm the Director of Workforce Development for Miller Electric Company. I'm involved with 4 apprenticeships. We have the electrical, and then we have a computer programming, cybersecurity, and data analytics apprenticeship at Miller. So I'm involved with all those. Thank you.
So when we say the word apprenticeship, I know some people have maybe this kind of an image in your mind, and that's what we've thought of maybe over the course of time, but these are really what our apprenticeships look like today. So they're in innovative industries, they're in new jobs and occupations, and they just keep expanding. So we've been using them in the trades for many years. We see the value of this model and how it's been working, and overseas they use it a lot in various industries, and so that's kind of moving to the United States, very quickly actually. So the Department of Labor is really all on board, the state of Florida is all on board, and we're just trying to spread the word as to why this might be a good model for you and your organization. This is Governor DeSantis just briefly talking about.
So we're a huge believer in vocational education and the skilled trades. So in our high school, most of our school districts, you can actually graduate with a certificate in things like HVAC, electrical, these key trades where there's high demand and where you will make good money. My generation was told you got to go to college, otherwise you won't be successful. That's resulted in people going because they were told to go. They go deep into debt. Meanwhile, some of these kids, they could do an apprenticeship. We're working on doing an apprenticeship their senior year of high school where they could start working some of these places. You get hired in some of these fields, you're making good money right off the bat, but then if you do well, you can make 6 figures in like your early 20s doing some of this stuff. And then some of these guys in electrical and HVAC, they can start their own companies, and in a growing state, there's a demand for that. So what we're trying to do is make sure that those options are presented for people so people have pipelines into these various industries, but also just delivering the message that people that go to college are not better than people that opt for vocational or skills type education and careers. And in fact, I think you see more and more students who are kind of over-degreed and then underperform in the actual economy, whereas some of the folks who really got those skills, applied them, they're doing very well and they have no debt. Now, education's not only about what you make. I mean, there's a value in and of itself, but when you see these stories about these students going $100,000 in debt, ended up with jobs that paying $30,000, I can tell you, if you're credentialed in aircraft maintenance or HVAC or electrical or welding in Florida, you're going to be doing a lot better than $30,000 a year. That's for sure.
It's very inspirational and exciting, the music, but also aside from just the music, the state has really put forth initiatives. So there is money for apprenticeship specifically and pre-apprenticeship that hopefully should be coming out soon. And they just passed something where many companies will be getting a tax break if you hire apprentices. So they really are putting money where their mouth is, basically. It's saying this is a great model. It helps with reducing college debt for all of these students, and it helps you to grow your own workforce. And we all know that we're having a hard time right now with finding skilled talent. So I just have a few questions. We're going to go down the row, and there'll be time hopefully for questions from you from the audience if you need at the end. I just wanted to start with Tim. He was, I apologize. These are some of the things that it will also address. Things like retention and quality assurance, diversity. Lost knowledge is big, right? People are leaving the workforce, and we want to ensure that the person that's worked there for 20 years is able to pass that information down. So apprenticeship, work-based learning, these kinds of models really do help with a lot of these issues that we're having in the workforce right now. So I apologize. Here we are with our panel. And Tim recently was part of the State Apprenticeship Advisory Council, just recently rolled off. So he's had experience in all areas. And I wanted to ask Tim, can you explain what an apprenticeship is, maybe how it's different from an internship, and what might be some of the benefits of it?
Sure. Well, one of the main things about apprenticeship is it's industry driven. It's for an employer, so it's customized for the employer's needs. In the college environments, it's more general academic, but when you move to an apprenticeship, you can get specific and drill down to the types of tools we use, the softwares we use, whatever. So it's very, it's controlled by the employers. So that's the thing is the best thing is, and there's no courses in the apprenticeship, at least in ours, where we're not doing humanities and English. We're doing electricity. We're doing OSHA, the safety part. So it's all specifically related to doing the job. This job, not other job, it's this job. So that's what I really like about it is that it's so specific. Also, the apprenticeship model, which I don't think a lot of people understands, there's just two aspects of it. One is there is an academic portion. We at our in the electrical apprenticeship that I deal with, I'm a trustee on that Electrical Training Alliance. I've been a trustee for 13 years there. We have an actual school, and we have labs, we have classrooms. So there is an academic portion. So our electrical apprentices, they go 2 evenings a week from 6:30 to 9:30. There they're learning the academic part of electricity, Ohm's law, voltage drop, harmonics, the National Electrical Code, things that they wouldn't pick up on a job site. So there's a place definitely for the academic portion. In over our 5-year program, they'll get about 1,000 hours in the classroom. But the main thing about apprenticeship is the on-the-job portion. That is critical. And when I talk to high school students, I asked, does anybody play a musical instrument? And somebody raised their hand. I said, what do you play? They say a piano. I said, all right, did you buy a book that said how to play the piano? You read it, you set it down, and you played Beethoven? No. So the idea is practice. That is 100% what an apprenticeship on-the-job training is. It's practice. These light fixtures in here, I have literally put up thousands. I've installed thousands of these light fixtures. I got good at it because I put so many in. And that's what the on-the-job training is. The same thing with receptacles, switches, conduit, whatever. It's putting the knowledge to work, but you're learning under a journeyman or a licensed electrician or whatever. It's in a controlled environment. But that's what the benefit is that on-the-job requirement. So in the apprentice 5-year program, 1,000 hours in school, they have to have state regulations for our program is they'll have 8,000 hours minimum to graduate of on-the-job training. That's a lot. But along with that, they're getting paid all the way through. In our world, we have full health care for them and their family, the apprentice. We have a retirement contribution. So there's benefits that they're getting all the way through. So after 5 years, now they've been an employee for us for 5 years. Now, as the governor said, in their mid-20s, some of them were making field supervisors because they've already spent 5 years with us. They know what we do. They're licensed, skilled craftsmen. They're becoming supervisors, and we have many supervisors that do make over $100,000 a year. So in their 20s, not everybody, but the high performers. So it's a wonderful model, and I'm a graduate. I went through a 4-year electrical apprenticeship right out of high school, so I know what it's done for me, and it gave me the building blocks to get where I am now. So I've worked for Miller Electric for 32 years. I started out as an electrician, and I've been able to kind of go up the ladder and do other things. And that's what typical of most people. You kind of move up. So that apprenticeship model gave me the building blocks that I need, and I know a lot of other people that it has done the same.
Can you explain maybe the difference between apprenticeship versus an internship?
Oh, sure. The apprenticeship is a structured curriculum. The academic part especially is structured, and we are registered with the state of Florida Department of Education, and then the actual career classification is also registered with the Federal Department of Labor. So there is a structured curriculum for the apprentice. We know we have all the curriculum, and ours is LMS based. But we know that apprentice knows from day one what they're going to be doing. Another thing that we do is, as part of an apprenticeship, is we have a structured pay scale. I can tell anybody what they're going to be making for the next 5+ years. They get a raise every year, but we have that identified in our information and in our standards. So it's more structured, and it's a 5-year program. Internships, and we have, I was mentioning to several people, we have 47 college interns with us this summer. It's a paid internship, similar to apprenticeship, but it's not as structured, and we're putting those people, we have finance interns, so they're working in our finance department, marketing, they're working in our marketing department, and then a lot of engineering and construction management people. So they're working as needed wherever the need is, and then they're only there for 12, 16 weeks, whatever, during the summer. So it's a little less structured, but it also gives them the opportunity to see what we do, how we do it, what our softwares are, and then make the determination of, do I want to do this again, or is this something I'm interested in, or maybe I'll check this off as no, and I'll go on and do some other another internship elsewhere.
Great, thank you. Yeah, so just to keep in mind, apprenticeship is you actually are hiring them as an employee.
Yes.
And they're not staying just 4 months or something like that. So if we can go down the way here, Orv, can you start by telling me about your program and why you chose to do that and what kind of benefits you see for your organization?
Well, at Northrop Grumman, we have a very strong college intern program, but that is focused around engineering. So we've had that for decades. We bring engineers in during the summer, and they mentor during the summer months in an engineering discipline. If they're good, they're invited to come back, and then they're offered a job when they graduate from that engineering discipline. We didn't have anything like that for the hourly workforce. So we started initially programs with the local community colleges. So I set one up in California with the community college there about 25 years ago, and it's still ongoing. And then with FCTC here, that program's about 15 years old. And in one semester, we helped them put the curriculum together. And in one semester, they learned the basics of aircraft fabrication. We interview everybody that graduates from that class. And then if they pass the interview, we offer them full-time employment. That wasn't enough to fill our needs. So we started a pilot program last year we called it an internship. It's probably more of an apprenticeship. But we went to the local high schools from Putnam, Clay, St. Johns County, and even Southern Duval County, and worked with the CTE counselors, the career and technical education counselors. We gave them a list of criteria that the students would have to meet before they could apply. So number one, they had to be able to clear, because I have to bring them in a cohort, clear their afternoons their senior year. So in other words, they would be able to come to work with us from 1 to 4 every day. And then the second thing was they have to have good attendance. I can't have them missing work. They had to be good citizenship records at school, and then their grades had to be good. And this provides a career opportunity for those that may not have a pathway to college. So the CTE counselors did a fabulous job screening the students. We did interviews, and we brought 7 in for our first cohort. What we did from there was we also interviewed our employees who are technicians. We could have the best craftsperson ever, but they're maybe not a good communicator, right? So we had to make sure that we picked the mentors for them and made sure that they were good fits. So we selected a group of mentors. The folks come in at 1 o'clock every day. They spend a day in class, and then the next day that they're there, they'll actually go out on the shop floor and work with the mentor and perform that task. And we do that one task at a time, so we get through all the operations that they need to accomplish to become a full-fledged technician. So if they stick with us, and we can't hire anybody until they have a high school diploma, and also that they have gone through this and completed the courses, we offer them full-time employment once they turn 18. So we weren't sure and wanted to make sure it was good, so we had luncheons with the students. 100% of them are making a career out of Northrop Grumman. We interviewed the mentors afterwards to ask them how it went, and they loved them. They treated them like they were their own kids. It was just a fantastic thing. So we're going to expand that program and continue to do that throughout the years now to do the hourly workforce increases that we need. The one thing I want to bring up about it, it's a lot easier for somebody on an engineering salary to relocate. And the key here is, as it was in California, if you don't home grow that workforce that we need to do and build all of our products, doesn't matter if it's aircraft, if it's the construction business, doesn't matter. If you don't home grow them, then you're probably not going to be able to populate the number of people you need for that workforce. By home growing them, they have the structure, they have the family support, all those things are already here. And it's not a relocation burden, and especially trying to buy a home the way it is these days in St. Johns County, right? So it's been an excellent program. We're really excited about it, and we're going to continue it.
Great. Thank you so much. It's a great story. Donna, can you talk about yours?
Sure. So healthcare traditionally does not have, or at least in the local area, a lot of apprenticeship opportunities. Back in the day, the diploma schools, nursing used to have you go through what was more like an apprenticeship. Sorry, can you guys hear me okay, or?
I guess they need it.
Okay.
Is this on?
Okay, so and of course we're having the same shortages that everybody else is having. So we started talking about how do we get surgical technicians, because there are certain jobs that even when we start delving into agency, we're unable to find employees, right? So we don't want to delve into agency because it costs us 3 times what it costs a normal employee, but at least we have that resource. When then it came time to finding surgical technicians and we couldn't even get agency folks, it's panic time, because they are integral to having surgery, and without surgery you can't run a hospital. So we started talking to our colleagues at CareerSource, and they said, have you ever thought about an apprenticeship? So we started going down that rabbit hole with them, and I also happen to have a son-in-law who is an electrician and went through his apprenticeship up in New York. And it was an amazing experience, and I'll call him the kid, even though he's a grown man now. The kid is making $65 an hour, making a really great living, where he is for him and my daughter. So I thought that is probably a big piece of the barrier here. And the more we talk to people who are interested in becoming surgical technicians, that was a big barrier for them. They could not stop working, pay for anywhere from $20,000 to $45,000 to $50,000 of school for 2 years to then re-enter the workforce. So it was like, wow, if we can take that barrier away from them, pay them while they're learning, and then have a promised job waiting for them when they're done, this could be a game changer. So we had many, many applicants. We started the program small with only 6 positions because we didn't want to overwhelm our own workforce, because they are the journeymen, right? So our current surgical technicians have to be paired up with the folks coming into the apprenticeship. And they will be graduating in September, and they're doing fantastic. So much like my colleagues, there is the didactic portion, the academic portion. So we had them doing that online in conjunction with our educators who are helping to shepherd them through that. and then they delved fully into the hands-on portion, which of course is everybody's favorite part, and they're doing phenomenal. Some of the surgeons have already claimed them for, you know, who's going to be working open heart and who's going to be working labor and delivery, and it's been wonderful. It's been extremely successful. And now we are looking at, like I said, starting a few more apprenticeship programs, because there are positions. So folks like our pharmacy technicians, it's not just the other local hospitals that we're competing with. We're competing with Walgreens and CVS and Walmart, and so this is a very finite pool of folks, and we're competing with really major corporations. Again, integral roles within the hospital. These are folks that make sure that your medication that you are admitted with is checked, and are we continuing on with that, and are you going home on the right medications, and right, big piece of the puzzle. And if you can't have those folks as part of the team, the system breaks down even further. So we're going to be working with our partners at Cursos hopefully soon to look at starting another apprenticeship. And you know, we keep looking at what else can we do, and that homegrown piece is so important, because these are folks who want to stay in the county, have those roots in the county. I don't want to lose them to Jacksonville or to, you know, Ormond or to parts unknown. So we're really trying to catch them. This next round with surgical techs, we've had a lot from the Healthcare Academy who have said, hey, is this something we can roll into? And we absolutely want our high school students from the Healthcare Academy to roll in. So we're going to have some spots open for them this time. The first time around, we took in-house folks, because one, for loyalty purposes, if they've been with Flagler for a long time, we really wanted to reward that. But to Orb's point, we knew their attendance record, we knew their work ethic, we knew, so if we're going to invest, you know, thousands and thousands into them, we kind of wanted to make sure we knew these were folks that we would get some of that out of. So.
I'll just mention a few things about our program. Our electrical program is for our entry level, obviously electrical workers, but we do have we've completed a cybersecurity apprenticeship and a computer programming apprenticeship for some people in our existing employees. And now we have a data analytics program that's about 3 months in. It's a 12-month program. So somebody mentioned, it may have been the governor, about retention. So what I really like about our in-house programs is we're taking employees and giving them an opportunity to upskill, and that's a big word that's come out, is upskilling, but it does keep that retention. And you know, and in my own life, I started out as an apprentice. I've had so many different positions as I've grown and matured and learned. So that's the same with these younger employees that we have, is they may have, one of them started as a receptionist, and she's moved to another job in the learning department, and now she's one of these apprentices. So it gives a person an opportunity to grow within a company and get the specific training that they need. So I really like that part of upskilling, and then retention and keeping the loyal employees. And as you said, we know what these people are doing, and so we offer these apprenticeships to people that we think will be able to complete it and contribute to the company. Another thing I'll quickly mention is apprenticeship is not well known. I think the word is, but the actual mechanics of it. So what we have found is trying to find electricians, people don't really understand what apprenticeship is. So we've spent a lot of effort in the high schools and middle schools, doing career fairs and things like that. But now we've actually been able to institute some pre-apprenticeships in some area high schools. We have one in Oak Leaf High School in Clay County. They have 2 classes in Baker County. That's where we started our pre-apprenticeships. And 2 in Nassau County at the Bean Center, and then at Fernandina High School. FSCJ is using our curriculum. And then we just signed several new MOUs, one with Trinity Christian Academy in Jacksonville, University Christian High School, and then we're going to start a new one in Jacksonville at Westside High School, the Old Forest High School. So what this is, it allows a high school senior to complete our first year curriculum, because it is LMS based, so it's a perfect fit. And then if they complete the program in their senior year and they have good enough grades, we allow them to advance place into second year into our apprenticeship program. So they get to skip a year and be done that much quicker. So we really like the pre-apprenticeship, and that gets the information out, and it lets some people try it. And we've had a few people say, that's not what I want to do. Perfect. But we've had some that are now, we just have several of them graduate from the apprenticeship. So we're very proud of, we was able to take a high school student, give them that exposure in high school, and now they are actually journeyman wiremen working for Miller. So we really like that part of it. But getting the word out about apprenticeship, and that's what I like about this today, we're able to discuss it because you may not be familiar with it. I kind of grew up in that system, but a lot of people haven't. And with the new industries, healthcare, aeronautic, boat repair, nursing, there's all kinds of different apprenticeships now that are starting, and I don't think a lot of people are familiar with it because that industry's never had it before. So I love having this opportunity.
So, I know you partnered with the schools, and I was at a meeting where you also had multiple community members there. How have you partnered with the community and with the schools to make your program valuable, successful?
That's kind of a big question.
Sorry.
So, meeting the folks in the community, getting the word out, as you mentioned. So we attend career fairs, much like Flagler and Miller are doing at the schools. That's extremely important to get that information out. Working with the Chamber of Commerce has probably been my biggest exposure to a lot of different things, right? So the EDC breakfast, all of the community leaders are there, the major businesses are there, as well as a large amount of the small businesses, and that's an exceptional place to network. So everything from the sheriff's department to the fire department to Flagler, you know, getting to know all those folks. We all have the same needs from a workforce perspective, and we all have friends, neighbors, children, grandchildren, whatever, that are interested in different career fields. And because we do network together, we're able to refer people to the specialty that they want to get involved with. And then we're not shameful. So this first batch of high school students, we let them custom design a Northrop Grumman t-shirt, and they wear them to school for advertisement for us. And on the back it says, "Ask me about my job," right? So, you know, there's a multitude of different ways for doing the networking and getting everybody involved. Again, if you're not involved with the chamber, that would be a great place to start as far as getting a network going locally and help you grow a workforce from within our county.
And I was out, I'll do this first.
You want it?
Sure.
All right.
I was at one of their meetings, and it was really great because they were reaching out to so many organizations and asking, what is it that you need, or if the schools, like, what are your transportation issues? Because that's an issue as well, right? All the schools have to bring their students to you. How do they get there?
Actually, currently all of them drive themselves
Okay.
to school. We can't, as a corporation, we can't provide transportation for it. So it's up to either the school or the student to work those details out.
We can go down the line. What kind of challenges have you found, if any, in your programs?
I think the biggest challenge was making sure that the students were able to clear their schedule in the afternoons. I don't know how it is for you all, but we can't have students starting at different times throughout the day. It needs to be a cohort. It's better for learning to have a cohort, at least in our industry, where there's multiple questions being asked. You know, somebody might not ask or think about it, and somebody else does. And so there's learning just from that aspect of having a cohort together. The transportation was one. We did reach out to the Florida School for the Deaf and Blind as well. So I have two kids from that school also. And it's just a good experience. I do want to bring up something else. With FCTC, St. John's River College and things, Goodwill Industries is a fantastic partner. I discovered them in California, and what they do is they eliminate any financial barriers. So somebody that couldn't afford to go to FCTC, for example, into the aeronautics program, they screen every student, not only just for our program, but for their medical program. I know there's an electrical program there as well, and they provide the financial aid for those individuals, up to and including childcare, a multitude of different things to eliminate any barriers from people being able to obtain and advance their careers.
For us, it was, number one, it was getting the leap of faith buy-in from my leadership, right? So I'm blessed to have a wonderful boss who took the leap with me, but trying to sell all of the outlay of expense, right, in the beginning to bring these folks on was one big barrier, but luckily like I said, I have a wonderful boss, and we had the support of CareerSource to really help us get some grants, money from the state, different avenues that would really help to supplement. So that is that was a big selling feature to my leadership team. Then getting, because we were the first in Northeast Florida, there was no real roadmap. So trying to find the right partners. So for my academic friends, anybody who would like to create a really nice online surgical technician base would be wonderful, because there were really only a couple of schools in the country that offered it. This first go around was bumpy at best. I will not mention names, but we used somebody from well across the country. So there is definite need for partners in these avenues to really help support with curriculum. So that was another barrier for us, and I think a very big open opportunity for those in academia to take a look at. And then it was getting my staff, who are the journeymen, right? So they're doing the lion's share of the work for us. So then it was getting the buy-in from those teams of showing them where the payoff would be for that, and also reassuring them their jobs were zero in threat, right? So pouring all of this time into these new folks and then having them, I don't want them looking over their shoulder like, now are they coming for our jobs? We are short all the time, constantly. So, it was reassuring them, not only will you not lose your job, but you might actually get a day off and not have to take as much call, because when the new ones come on, here's the reward for you, is that now you have backup as well. So those were kind of our bigger barriers for us.
Some of the things that we're running into is the construction industry, the electrical industry. It's been a traditionally white male industry. And so we have made a big effort to recruit others, and everybody is welcome. However, we have seen some challenges. And I don't think I mentioned earlier, a state registered apprenticeship cannot charge tuition. So there is no student loan that a person has to get. So when they graduate our program, they don't owe any money. So for the disadvantaged community, I see that as a wonderful option, but we do have a challenge of getting that word out and getting the participation. So we're in disadvantaged communities, disadvantaged schools. We're doing a lot to get the word out, and we're having some success, but I don't think it's coming as quick as possible. And one thing I do hear is the transportation. That is a problem in every industry, and it hurts us a little bit more, because an electrician doesn't just show up at Miller's office and go to work. They go to the job site. So they may be at a job site for 2 months or 2 years, but they're going to go to another job site. So me as an apprentice, I had to do the same thing, and even as an electrician. So the transportation piece is a big barrier as far as the disadvantaged community that we've talked to United Way. And there's some other options out there to try to overcome that. Child care is another one. We do have some apprentices that are single parents. So on school nights, there's a problem. So we're now investigating if we can actually provide childcare at our school to eliminate that. So we're looking at things and trying to make our program more friendly. We eliminated the need for a driver's license because the younger generation doesn't seem to want to have a driver's license. So we now it's just a Florida ID card, and you got to have something to even get employed. So you got to have something. But we changed that. We do a math boot camp before our first year starts for people to help them brush up. We provide tutors now on their off school night. They can go and get help there. So we're trying to do as much as we can to support all the students. But again, there are some barriers that hopefully that us and some of the community organizations can come together to try to fix it, like a gas card or something like that. We're looking at ways like that to be creative.
That is so exciting to hear, because this is really what you're going to find if you need talent, because there's just all this competition, and they're listening to what do my potential job seekers need. I mean, this is really exciting to hear. I did want to mention the word journeyman. If you're not familiar with that word, I heard Donna use it. That's basically the people who are already experts in their field. Those are the people that will be training the apprentices. So if you hear that word, that's journeyman. And some organizations actually make that like a bonus. They might even give them, extra money, because now they are having, they might feel like, I was already doing my job, now I have this additional. You definitely want a mentor who is excited about this job, and like Orv was saying, they interviewed them, they ensured that they were good communicators, they want to do this work, and so some organizations will pay them more because this is now a new a new responsibility, but you also want them to want to do it and be successful at it. Okay, so what kind of feedback have you heard from the apprentices? Was it hard to recruit for these positions? How did you advertise?
So I think I already mentioned, we had a lunch with the first batch of students that we had. I'll admit my vice president wasn't 100% bought in until that luncheon. And then afterward he said, I want as many as I can tolerate every semester, right? So it was a big deal. They had nothing but glowing responses about their mentors and their experience in the classroom as well as out on the shop floor. They couldn't believe that they're building one of the Navy's most technological aircraft. Although it's a 1950s airframe, what we put in it is outstanding. So they were just really excited to be able to do that. And then the mentors, I think it put spark in a lot of them because it can get humdrum doing production, right? So you're doing the same job and same tasks every day. This, I think, brought a new life into our employees as well. And it was a great experience for them, and they can't wait for the next batch of folks to come in.
Awesome.
So, like I said, we wanted to start with our within employees first and give them the opportunity. So we had the 6 positions, and we had probably about 14 or 15 applicants, which was great. So we did all the interviews, and then we mandated that they spend a little time in the OR before we had them start the position, which automatically eliminated about half the folks. So we were glad that we did that, because what you see on Grey's Anatomy and reality are 2 very different things. And so some folks realized it just wasn't for their stomach or their heart. So that was a big plus, and I'm glad that we did that. We will be doing that again. So we had our 6 folks. Due to circumstances, immediately one person had to withdraw, so now we had this one open spot. So then we opened it to the outside. Holy guacamole, we had like 90 applications for the one spot. So I wish I had a capability to bring on 20 more folks. So we had, gone through the process, we picked our other person. So I'm quite sure we will be successful when we open it to the outside we'll open it to our own employees, of course, because now they've seen what's been going on, so we may fill it just with our own, but if we open it to the outside, there is great desire and need. To Tim's point, there are, I think, lots of folks who they come from underprivileged families. College was never on the table for them. There was just no way to support that dream. And this is genuine life-changing opportunity, and that's what some of my own employees have said, is this going to be life-changing for me? Because it's not just their base salary, it's their call pay that they're going to take. Then they start taking lead positions, supervisor positions, and now they're making really good money, and this could be generationally life-changing, So that's the really exciting side, is that not only is it great for my other employees and for our patients, but it is wonderful for these apprentices to be able to do it. They're super excited. The St. Johns County actually had a day where they honored apprentices, so we were able to go there, and we brought all of them with us. They were just beaming. I mean, literally light was coming out of them. They were so excited to be honored. And then our staff has really been playing Mama Bear and Papa Bear with them, and so it has been so well received. They're so excited. They can't wait to start. Now they're in that kind of what I would call end of teenager, early adult phase in their apprenticeship, where they're like, I can do it, let me do it myself. That's what my 14-year-old tells me every day, and which is also wonderful to see, because sometimes it's hard to let go of the side of the pool, right? I see that with my new nurses. We put them through orientation, we put them through an internship as well, and then it's time to go on their own, and they're like just not ready. Where with the apprenticeship, I'm really seeing that they're like, nope, let me at it. They feel more comfortable, because to your point, we're just teaching everything they need to know specific to that job. So they didn't have to take art history, and they didn't have to take those other pieces. It's so specific, and so they feel so ready to jump in, which is really exciting.
And to kind of piggyback off what you said, the apprenticeship, as far as the electrical, I'll just use that as an example. It's kind of it gets you started in your career. But as I said, most people don't stay at the same level their whole career. So what are the options? So our apprenticeship, because there's no tuition, they graduate. If they come out of high school, they're 22 when they graduate, 21, 22. They graduate debt-free. Then what else is there? Well, we can actually offer them our apprenticeship program. The electrical has articulation. We have articulation agreements with some colleges. So at that point, they could actually go ahead and go to college if they wanted to, and use those articulation agreements. And my company, Miller Electric, we have a tuition reimbursement program for employees. So after 1 year of employment, any employee can take advantage of it. And it's structured on your grade. So if you get an A in the college class, they will pay 100% of the tuition. And they'll pay for 75% of the books. If you get a B, it's 85%, and a C, 75%. So theoretically, in your 20s, if you wanted to, by the time you're 27, 28, you could have a credential as a journeyman wireman that is good all over the United States. You can and you've been paid all along, and then you can also go ahead and get your college degree in your 20s, and basically I'll have it paid for. And I took advantage of that, so I know it works. So I have no college debt. I did not have to get a student loan because I used the articulation agreement and the tuition reimbursement program. So now these people have the base of being a skilled labor as an electrician, and now maybe they're going to move up into project management, estimating, whatever, leadership of some sort, and they can have that college degree as well. So the apprenticeship, I love it, and I just know what it starts you with, but in our system, it can take you to the end of your career. And I've been there 32 years at Miller. I'm going to retire there, hopefully, and we have a lot of people there that have worked their way up into the office, college degree or not. We have internal training programs that can teach you how to be an estimator and a project manager, but there's just options, there's opportunity, and you can take it as far as you want to go.
I just want to add a couple more things. So St. Johns County School District, you really need to talk to the schools about what your needs are. and that includes FCTC as far as setting up particular programs. If you provide it and you can get the enrollment there, they'll conduct the schooling. Not everybody's able to get into an apprenticeship program. That's why we have the program at FCTC, so that those people that are currently working and can't quit and come to work, they're able to do that. And it's become so popular that we have not only young folks in there, but in a lot of cases, their parents, because they're looking for a career opportunity change. So they'll actually be in the classes together, and they get hired together. It's pretty cool.
We'll just continue. Any last comments or suggestions you might have for organizations considering an apprenticeship?
I think that kind of summed up my thought with it. CareerSource has been a great partner of ours. The opportunities at Northrop Grumman, I'll do a little advertisement for us. We do tuition reimbursement as well. So they can start off as a technician. If they want to become an engineer or whatever it is they want to do, we've paid for education all the way up through PhDs. So it all depends upon what their goals are in life.
Yeah, same. We also have tuition reimbursements. So if I have a scrub tech who then wants to go on to nursing school, that can be paid for. And then I have an OR nurse who also can scrub, who can circulate, right? So that benefits the institution even more, because now I have folks who can pivot and do so many things. I think we're also an example of you don't have to have a huge apprenticeship program. So some of you own smaller businesses. I don't think there's actually a number specific that you have to have for an apprenticeship. Because I remember when we were starting, I was like, we only, I think of big places like electrical companies. Northrop Grumman is a large institute. So when I had my 6, I was like, can we do this? You could be a party of 1 or 2. So if it's something that's going to suit your business, I would say jump in, look at it, because it's really, like I said, for both us and for the apprentices now, this is game changing to the point where we're going to start adding more apprenticeships, because this is a really wonderful way to go. And with the funds that are available through CareerSource, and the federal government even has some, and there's just, all sorts of different avenues to go. Really look into that, because it really helps to shave off that cost. And so again, then you can roll that into future programming. So it's been a wonderful journey for us, and I really advocate that anyone who feels moved to do so, really look into it.
Yeah, we had one person in our cybersecurity apprenticeship, a current employee. So there is no requirement there. And so if you're thinking about it, there's several resources out there, but one is Bill Lawver with the State of Florida Department of Education. He's the regional, they call them ATRs, I think it's Apprenticeship Training Representative, whatever. That guy knows every rule that, he knows every, does he not?
Yes, he does.
And he will enforce every rule.
He will keep you right on track.
Yeah, you will follow the rules with him. But he's a great guy, and his role is to, one, audit and manage existing programs. He comes to a lot of our trustee meetings. But he's also, the whole state is subdivided into, and they have ATRs all over the state. I think there's probably a dozen or more. But what his additional role is to help create new apprenticeships. So he's the first resource you should talk to if you're interested, and he can kind of give you an idea of what's out there already. Do we need to create something new? Because the Federal Department of Labor, almost every occupation has a category or a code. And so if you're going to create an apprenticeship program, one, there might be already apprenticeship programs out there that you could use. Or two, there's criteria that you have to meet for that specific surgical tech code or whatever it is. So electrician has got a code, and then each one. So, but he knows that. And there's other companies out there that actually will help you with the curriculum. For our 3 internal ones that we do, the non-electrical apprenticeship programs, we use a company, they're based in New York, and they do they create the curriculum, They have a mentor system that they implement for the apprentice during the course of their apprenticeship that checks in with them weekly, and they're kind of out of the loop as far as the academic part, but they help with time management or something like that, stuff like that. So there are resources out there where you don't have to come up with the curriculum. There's in today's time, there's probably a curriculum out there for you that would fit your needs, or there's companies out there that can customize something for you.
So, exactly. You could start with me if you'd like, just because I'm here and you'll have my information, but after I speak with you or answer questions, I'm going to pass you to Bill Welver, like he just mentioned, because he has all the technology, all the technical information, and he works for the Board of Education, and that's where your information will go. And like he's also mentioning, there are intermediaries, which are organizations nationwide that are experts in your industry. So Bill is not maybe an expert in healthcare, I'm not going to be an expert in logistics, but there are organizations out there paid for by the Department of Labor, so everything is free, that can help you write your program. And they may even have money for you, so it might even be a benefit monetarily to work with some of these intermediaries. So I'm going to go to the next slide, and then at the end, if we have time, if there's some extra questions. These are some helpful websites. So the Department of Labor, that first one, Apprentice Florida, I'm sorry, that's Apprentice Florida, that's ours here in the state of Florida. And then apprenticeship.gov is national. Career Source, Northeast Florida, there's a site there for apprenticeship. The Florida Department of Education.org. It's kind of a confusing site, so if you just search apprentice, you'll see some information there. And as far as Career Source, we can help answer questions about apprenticeship. That would be with me, help you register it with the state, and the potential funding for training. I know that's come up a lot. Ms. Carol Cullen is here today from Career Source, and she is the expert on the funding and training if you wanted to ask her some questions. And we can also help recruit job seekers. So I get a lot of requests from job seekers who are interested in the apprenticeship model or the Earn As You Learn. Doesn't have to be a registered apprenticeship. If you did one in-house, you can still consider that a good training program or a work-based learning program. There's a lot of people interested, just like Donna was mentioning. I actually used to be an advisor at St. John's River State College, and people would come in all the time, not only high schoolers, but mid-age, 35 something. They're looking for a career change, and it is really difficult to leave your job, go back to school. You have bills, you may have children. It is a huge hurdle, but there is talent out there who's interested in these other industries, and they want to move into your company, but they just can't because of life responsibilities. So if you can take on that training, and you're starting them at a lower pay level because they're not fully trained, but you're increasing that over time, you're taking on that responsibility, and you're really developing a partnership with that job seeker because they're so appreciative of being able to move into something new, and you're taking on that time and training, and you're paying them along the way. Do we have any questions from the audience? Good. Well, here, oh yes, go ahead.
I have lots of questions, but maybe I'll ask some of them later. So one of the things that we've been doing with the First Coast Manufacturers Association is talking about hidden sources of prospective employees, recently incarcerated, those with disabilities, some of the other groups that maybe we haven't tapped into like this. What are some things that would disqualify an individual from working as an apprentice? And what are some things that you used to think would disqualify somebody that you now no longer think disqualify somebody?
So at Northrop Grumman, because of what we do for our military, everybody, including high school students, by the way, go through a background check and a drug screen before they start. Somebody that's had a record expunged could still come to work for us, but anybody that had a current conviction for a felony would be disqualified in our cases.
Corbin, you mentioned that you've got a couple of students from the School for the Deaf and Blind.
Yes.
Are those areas where you used to think maybe that would disqualify somebody, and maybe your mind's changed a little bit?
No. So we've always been very inclusive and have taken on a whole cadre of folks from different issue types. What was interesting when I went to go talk to the students and the parents at the school, I wanted to find some stuff, and I actually found a short video clip of a deaf employee that talked about how easy his transition had been becoming an engineer at Northrop Grumman. So I showed it at the school, and the principal said, first thing out of his mouth is, "I know that kid, he graduated from here." So it was great to have that knowledge and for him to be able to make that connection. So, you just have to take the time. They're probably going to be the most dedicated employees because the options for them, for whatever reason, are typically fast food restaurant type work. They're not getting major opportunities, and I think that we were one of the first ones to step in there and offer career opportunities.
So I think in healthcare, we're kind of bound somewhat as well. So they have to pass all the drug screens, background checks because of our regulatory agencies. There would be some physical disabilities that would be able to be accommodated to work in our programs. Sight and hearing, really, because of the nature of handling sharp instrumentation, communication within the team, probably not, but I could easily see if somebody was wheelchair bound, or there would be other things that absolutely there would be accommodations for. So that would have to be very individualized depending on the position, but there would definitely be some opportunity. It would just have to be on an individual basis.
In our office, we do have some people with some physical limitations that can work. Working in the field as an electrician, that's a little bit different, and we do have some people that have some issues that they're able to overcome that. So they're really just it is a case by case on what it would be. As far as the criminal record part, there's no barrier to getting into the apprenticeship, and there's no barrier to getting it into our company. However, some of our customers do require us to background check if we work at a lot of military bases, schools. There are some places that someone that has a background would not be able to work, but most construction sites that we work on don't require a background check. So we have people like that. So that part of it is not a big problem in our work.
Ken, while you've got the mic, one final question too. So are you seeing changes as historically there have been a lot of jobs that require a 4-year degree, period. Now, as a student goes through an apprenticeship program, if they continue to gain that experience, but may choose or may not choose to go on and achieve a 4-year degree, are you seeing more opportunities and doors open for them to continue to develop their career without having to get that piece of paper down the line?
Yes, sir. And as a matter of fact, Miller Electric, we're a pretty big company. We do $600 million worth of electrical work every year, 3,200 employees, 16 branch offices. For an electrical company, we're pretty big. At the highest levels, we have 4 executive vice presidents that really are we have a president, CEO, but the executive vice presidents pretty much manage that $600 million worth of work. They're all apprenticeship graduates, for one, and those 4, none of them have a college degree. None of them. And they're managing $600 million worth of work. So that gave them, the apprenticeship gave them the base, and then as you move up, there's specific business practice. It's almost like an unofficial apprenticeship, but it does allow people. We have senior vice presidents that are apprenticeship graduates with no college degree. So yeah, you can go as high as you want in my industry. And like I think somebody said earlier, you can own your own business. You have to only be a journeyman for 4 years to get your master's license. So that's another shortcut for an entrepreneurial type, and I see that a lot. The entrepreneur notion is a lot more prevalent now than it has been. So you can own your own company. You don't have to have a college degree for that. You can hire an accountant to do the money, or whatever. You know, you can. There's lawyers, accountants, there's people that can support you. So yes, in our industry, the sky's the limit.
I want to thank these folks. I know one of the things that everyone talked about was developing that curriculum. And there are opportunities to partner with the community college. St. John's River State College, I'm sure, would be excited to partner with anyone that is looking to develop a specific curriculum to help train future employees and partner along with that to guide that journey for those individuals. So, and that's across the state. There's a tremendous opportunity to partner within the community college system. So I wanted to put that out there as well. I want to thank Doreen and the panel for coming today. We sincerely appreciate that. They'll be able to hopefully hang around a little bit if you have specific questions, but I know we're on a timeline and we want to stick with that as well. So thank you all for participating today. We sincerely appreciate it.